Going back to last week, uh, uh, what made Jalen Harper your top option at 74?
No, I just, it's what's available. You get into these weeks, and all of a sudden, some protocol things change, and you got to hustle, right? I mean, so we got to have reminded us last week. We got to have 20 guys ready at all times, and so. You're in a scenario where your direct backup could be a red shirt. Do you want to wrestle in one match? So really it came down to Jalen willing to do it and a lack of the next person available at the time.
Mm-hmm. How have how has the kind of the unknown factor impacted the room? Is it kind of becoming more competitive when knowing that could be more opportunities for some of the backups?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to be ready. I mean, we know that. So, it's just a matter of us reinforcing the scenario that we're in now, maybe, and each week could bring something different. So it's just being ready, And so looks like we're going to have that opportunity to compete. That's good. And so I do plan on this week taking our 10 regulars that have been going first semester. So, but with 2 days left before we leave, things can change.
Has it compromised your practices? This is a practice-centric sport. If you don't get out on the mat, get your work in, tend to not be as good. Has COVID knocked your practice qualities down at all?
I wouldn't say, but I think some individuals have been affected by it. But it seems like they're coming back quick enough and recovering that there wasn't a lot of symptoms, and pretty easy. While they had COVID, it wasn't rough on them. So those guys seem to be coming back pretty quick. Yeah. So
obviously conditioning is a big part of this, and breathing and all of that seems to be a kind of a side effect of what people deal with. But it sounds like you haven't noticed anything.
Oh, we've had some.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we've had some issues and some guys slowly returning, but I really, I think for the most part, our team's done a good job of getting vaccinations and boosters, and we have a few that haven't, and that's their option. But I feel pretty good about where we're at, as we go into a time of uncertainty, and just all we can do is try to make good decisions and stay healthy and try to avoid scenarios that could wipe you out.
You mentioned burning red shirts, or the potential of burning red shirts. In football, they can play 4 games now before. Do you think, especially given these circumstances, that wrestling should look into
Well,
something?
that would be nice, but no, it hasn't passed yet, nor has it really ever been on the table, So I think football's the only one that's allowed. I mean, I don't think basketball is in basketball yet, or any other sport, right? Right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So you don't ever know if you'll get that or not, but you could use it in a year like this. I think you could probably use it every year. Yeah. So, but we'll see.
As you get closer to the home duels coming up, and also the big event down in Arlington with Iowa, do you sense a little bit of a buildup with your team now that you've crossed the mid-year and now things are starting to get maybe a little more intense, a little more serious?
I think so. I think you're getting ready to hit some stiff competition. Not that we didn't last semester. I felt like we wrestled 3 really good dual meet teams, and probably a 4th one being Oklahoma University. But I thought Wyoming and Minnesota and Stanford were quality teams that gave us something to really look at. And I felt like we came out of those matches pretty good, looking good. So I'm looking forward to really, the schedule getting a lot tougher for us. We have this weekend with West Virginia and Columbia. We have some individuals that are going to hit some really good guys, So I think we're in pretty good shape from the standpoint of us going up and taking another couple dual wins, you know. But I know that individually it's going to be important, you know, and so we need to position ourselves better in the rankings. I mean, you know, ranked 16th, you know, I know it sounds good, but really if you, 16th at the NCAA championships could be 1 win and 2 losses, scoring a half a point, you know, or so, I mean, we need to position ourselves better, and we got several ways that hopefully we can do that.
Coach, you kind of spoke after Bedlam about how Dustin Putt's off-season injury last season kind of has affected him in certain ways. First off, how did he injure it in the first place last season, to your knowledge?
Last year,
Yes, sir.
he'd been injured 2 solid years, basically. You know, he's had a lot of troubles with, and I think that the last operation was the one that we had a lot of hope for. You know, I mean, he's looking strong. Doesn't seem to be bothering him any. He got slowed down a little bit, missing last week's match, but he's picked it right back up this week, and he's plugging along. So I don't think those injuries, there's things that we put in our past pretty quickly,
Right. I mean,
and we don't bring them up.
right. Obviously, he waited until the off-season to have the surgery, and he played through the injury. Could you kind of, at the time, see how it affected him maybe negatively when he was trying to put it off or play through it rather?
No, I don't think anything negative. I think he was excited about returning. I mean, he's a wrestler. This kid loves wrestling. He wants to be great, and everything he does on a daily basis points to that. If there's one particular guy on this team that really is driven, it's definitely him. We've got several of them, but he's definitely one. You know, so nothing's really getting him down. I mean, he's at the end of the season last year, he looked forward to going into the mode of rehabilitation on that shoulder, and he did a nice job of doing that. And he's going to need to wrestle some of his very best matches in the next few weeks.
Are there any matchups in particular you're looking forward to watching this weekend?
You know, Mastro's got two quality people, you know, and he's kind of slid in there where he's being recognized as one of the top 8 guys in the country, you know, and you know, it's time to take it even a little bit further, you know, and so. You know, it's like I said, these are matches that, you know, if you're going to put your team in the best position to have a quality national tournament, these matches become real important to start gathering up some momentum and have some real belief in what you're capable of doing.
I'm working on a story about the differences between home locker rooms and away locker rooms. You know, whether there's more comfortable or anything unique in them that can kind of just be interesting. And I had to get your perspective as a guy who's wrestled everywhere.
Yeah.
But first, before I ask about any other locker rooms, how is it in the Big 12?
We don't care about what the locker room is, to be honest with you. You know, if you want me, I'll sometimes show you the locker rooms we're using right now while we're building this new one. It's closets and it's bathrooms, and it's well, we're down here, we're up here, we're over here, you know, we're a little bit of everywhere, you know. I think when you think of wrestling, you know, it's more of what makes us comfortable is we have a room that's 80 degrees, right, where we can go in and we can work out and make weight prior to, you know, nothing hard, but I think what we think about is temperature more than what's the locker room look like. Yeah, and so
When you wrestle,
and equipment room. I mean, equipment room. You got good bikes. You got treadmills. You got things where if I need to go run 2 miles, am I going to have to run around the gym where it's cool, or can I run inside your facility that has treadmills, stationary bikes, and a temperature of 80 degrees? And the reason I say 80 is because that's the NCAA rule.
Is there temperature of a locker room that you have in mind? Maybe it was in Turkey
80.
or Switzerland.
Everything 80.
Has there ever been a locker
I
room?
want to
that's
live
been-
in 80.
You want to live in?
What's been the? Is there a temperature of? a
I got
locker room that's
80,
been
80 at my house.
Really? Why? Is it just so you can kind of remain
Just
used to it?
80. I've been.
Is it 80 in your house, really?
Yeah, 80.
That's awesome.
What's the coldest locker room you've ever been in?
Russia. Miserable. You don't want to go.
All right, I'm going to help my young compadre here because I want him to do a good story. You wrestled at Kinnick. You wrestled Iowa at Kinnick. And there was a football game that same day. Were your guys in that visiting locker room there, which is pink? You were in the pink locker room at Kinnick.
Yeah.
They say that pink sitting there keeps you from being aggressive.
I don't know. That was kind of after weigh-in. We went over there, you know. So we don't think about a locker room. Really, we don't. I mean,
Pink is different, John.
yeah. I mean, pink is different. It was different. I didn't think much of it though. I was like, okay, whatever.